So if we go back to the sampler and we move over here to the right, we can see that we have a filter. And we have many different filter types here that we can choose from: our filter cutoff frequency, the resonance, and whether or not the filter does key tracking as well. So with this line selected, the filter is basically deactivated. With this particular sound, let me solo this. This is the one I just worked on. Now, I actually like what's happening with some of the higher frequencies there, but it might be nice to make this just a bit more focused on the low end. Now, with the filter types here, I have a lot of different options. The first two here are low-pass filters. This one here has a less steep slope, which means that the frequencies that are being cut off will be reduced more gradually, while this one has a steeper slope. So when you're cutting off frequencies, everything above the frequency cutoff point will be cut a bit more abruptly. This is good if you want to really isolate a certain range of frequencies and cut everything above that, and it might work relatively well for what I have here. Let's see. So reduce the filter frequency here. If we increase the resonance, this will basically increase the volume at the cutoff point here. It's going to be really helpful if you want to do filter sweeps, have some movement with the filter. Now, the next two filter types here, we have two different bandpass filters. These will essentially cut the low and the high and let a mid-range of frequencies pass through. So as I make this higher, we hear the low frequencies getting cut. As I make this lower, we hear the high frequencies being cut. And if we have this in the middle, we have basically more of the mid-range. This bandpass filter has a more narrow bell. You can see the bandwidth here is much more narrow, so this will isolate a more narrow range of frequencies. And that might actually be pretty cool. The next two that we have here, these are high-pass filters, and these are the opposite of a low-pass filter. They let the high frequencies pass through, and we can see we have one with a more gradual slope and then one with a more steep slope. And the last one we have here is a notch, which will remove a certain range of frequencies from the middle. This is kind of the opposite of a band-pass filter. A little hard to hear on this sound, but oftentimes you can use this to create the sense of kind of like a hollow space in the sound. And if you use the frequency cutoff and modulate this, you can get some very nice, interesting sounds to happen. But in this case, I think using a bandpass filter could be useful because I want to be able to have this sound sit underneath my little pad sound, my little fake pad sound, which also needs to be EQ'd. So I think that could be interesting, is to use a bandpass filter, but modulate it in some sort of way. And I think what would be good is to use an envelope in this case as well. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this envelope here, my ADSR once again, and I'm going to map this to the filter frequency, like so. And I want to make the attack a bit more gradual. Well, that is pretty gradual. And the decay a bit more gradual as well. All right, let's hear this. All right, nice. Now I'm going to go to this sound here, and I'm going to use a high-pass filter to cut some of the lower frequencies out to make some more room for this sound underneath it. And maybe a low pass will be better, so I can keep those low frequencies in there. Okay, cool. All right, that sounds pretty interesting. All right, so we have the filter moving here. And again, with filter key tracking, we can make it so that as we play higher notes, the filter cutoff frequency gets a bit brighter, a bit higher. As we play lower notes, the filter cutoff frequency gets a bit lower. In this case, I don't really feel that I need the filter key tracking, so I'm going to leave that off. But again, it's a very useful parameter if you need it. So next, let's check out the envelope section over here.